we've found that anybody who can put together a quality product in a category that doesn't have a premium quality product in it that's USA made, has furthermore a warranty that can be offered on it, will almost always universally sell well. Why? Because there's just no products out there like that anymore.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Struggle to Strength podcast, your source for real life application on how to turn your struggles into strengths in all things mind, muscle, and money. Today we have Corey Zieman on today, who's going to give us 4 ideas. That's what we covered, right? 4 ideas for how to create a startup where you don't have to like reinvent the wheel or do anything that seems outrageously challenging. Corey makes this really simple, come up with really simple startup ideas that you can apply like pretty instantly. And you're probably already aware of some of these ideas. As we get through this conversation, you'll start having a lot more pop up. I know Travis and I both did. I don't know about you, dude, but like my brain was going.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. These are good ways, like where you don't have to kind of sit down, reinvent the wheel. These are like, 4 creative ways that you can just kind of use ideas that are already around you and just come up with like new startup ideas that are almost guaranteed to be successful. So it's pretty,
So it is. So if you want to start your own business, if that's something that you've been wanting to do, but you're struggling with what, this is the episode for you. All right. We'll see you guys inside. I was looking at your bio, and you've had some pretty good success with the startups. And so I thought, looking at your notes and what you had incorporated here into the bio, I thought that might be a good place to start. Is that typically what you enjoy talking about? Is just like how to create startup ideas and taking things from A to B?
Yeah. When I work with my clients, I typically am doing more than pay-per-click advertising with them. I help them strategize the marketing and then interweave that with the business, because I've also run businesses myself, so I can also do that. But I just thought it was interesting just thinking about what people are interested in and what knowledge I have. People always want to know, like if somebody says they're successful, they want to say, well, how did you do it? And then, I get the ability to hear all these different ideas all the time. What works, what doesn't work, because everybody's trying to get their idea, their startups to work with us. And we work with big companies, small companies. And I've seen over the years, hundreds of companies, what kind of just is the thing nowadays that kind of works and what doesn't work. And also like different ideas that people can use to just start up a business if they wanted to, which is more important. A lot of people want to start a business, but they don't know what to start other than the typical ideas. There's a lot of good ideas out there that I see that people could just use, run with it type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see that a lot. And this is actually something that Travis and I have discussed previously. But I'm glad you mentioned that, Corey, because I think, you're right. A lot of people, and we can just start rolling with this, by the way. I feel like we're already kind of on a hot topic right now. A lot of people do struggle with coming up with their idea, or they have a lot of ideas, but they don't know how to execute it. And so to those listening, I want to introduce Corey Zieman. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah.
All right. So Corey Zieman, who you are at Guaranteed PPC, but you said you do much more than pay-per-click. So Corey, why don't you give yourself a little bit of an intro and tell us kind of what you do and how you got here and how you can help us today?
Yeah, I got into doing web marketing and business in 2005. Started out selling auto parts. We started out on eBay, then we started doing it through websites. And that was with a partner that I met in college. Did that till about 2009. Sold off my interest in that company to the partner. And then from there, I got in with, it was a VP of marketing at a marketing agency based out of Toronto, Canada. And then from there, I worked at that agency for about 3 years. Then I had the idea of doing a contingency-based marketing firm with specifically specializing in Google ads, Facebook ads, online advertising in general. And because at the previous agency I worked with, I knew the common question that everybody always asks is, is there a way just with the paid advertising that you guys can kind of get the results with the ads, and then we can kind of pay you after, we got some momentum with this. Everybody kind of was asking that question, and it got asked enough. I was thinking maybe there is a way that can be done with an agency model. And that's exactly what I did with Guaranteed PPC. Figured out how to do that. Perfecting the idea of it over the years, been doing that for 8 years now. And that's what I'm still currently doing.
That's awesome. So you kind of like sort of bootstrapped your way into this position just by learning and applying on your own. People were asking you how you did it, which I think is, like you said, the common question. People were asking, well, how did you do it? And so you started off in an environment where you could learn a lot. I guess for the listeners and other people who are trying to find that in themselves, we talked earlier about, the concept of ideas and startup ideas and how you can create a successful one. What, in your opinion, would be the best way to go about creating an idea for a startup? Because, I mean, dude, Travis and I have talked about this. There's people online who teach cats how to use the toilet and make money from it. So, like, what in your mind, what in your eyes constitutes a strong and successful startup idea?
Sure. Well, I kind of try to categorize it into several groups of like different things that I see work and what's out there working today. First of all, I kind of got this whole idea from Grant Cardone, listening to him, but you don't necessarily always also have to come up with a brand new, monumental idea to figure out how to get into business and make money. You could find a business that already has a good trade, that they do what they do very well, and just come in and say that you're going to kind of, for lack of better words, white label what they're doing. What we'll have different individuals do at our company is they'll come in, they'll be doing XYZ, and I'll suggest, ultimately, you also do this over here, but you're not really focusing on it. And we've already gotten success in that particular area already, advertising in that area. We know what kind of people want to see and hear in that area. Why don't you just use what we know is effective in that area, and you can do the work. And ultimately, you could also partner with other people in the area who do that. And effectively, because you own the advertising and what is effective to generate customers in that area, you will have a business in itself, because most people in most markets don't know how to get customers, at least when you're talking about like local services. So in other words, find an advertising system that works, put together a website, and then partner with somebody who already has great reviews, does really great work, and take 10-20% as a profit margin for yourself. There's so many businesses that you can do that in, where you could just start up a website, start up an advertising campaign, and then have somebody else essentially do the heavy lifting of doing the work and so forth. They can do the work that already has a good system, and you just essentially take a referral fee for what service you're providing, which is to generate the customer, and marketing what they've already done that's effective, so to say. So that's one kind of a general business model that is very effective that I see some people doing, but a lot of people don't know or hear about. The other really big thing anymore that's almost always universally works is, since kind of the 70s, everything has been going cheaper, cheaper, cheaper. And everybody's kind of tired of, cheap imported Chinese goods, or just, cheaper goods in general. We've found that anybody who can put together a quality product in a category that doesn't have a premium quality product in it that's USA made, has furthermore a warranty that can be offered on it, will almost always universally sell well. Why? Because there's just no products out there like that anymore. Particularly if you can have a warranty that you can attach to it, because that right away tells people that what you have is quality and you're willing to stand behind it. And so it doesn't really matter.
Have you heard of Origin, the clothing brand Origin? They're like out of like Maine. That just reminded me of this company. Basically, like they make like their kind of flagship product is they make like leather boots. But what they found is that in the market, like all boots were made like terribly, or the majority of boots were made terribly, and like the actual skill to make like high quality leather boots was kind of lost. Like there was like these old cobblers in like northern Maine, and they were like 80 years old that knew how to do this, but like the information wasn't really on the internet. So they basically like moved their company there. They found these guys, they brought them in, showed them how to make it. And they make these like really, really high quality, like leather boots made in America. Like they've got a good like back origin story, and that company's like crushing it. So like that just, I thought that was a good example of that kind of second, there's lots of boots. You can go buy boots online, but these guys are selling them for a lot more and they're killing it. But they're like really high quality. They're made in America. They've got a warranty, just like you were saying.
We found that you can even sell your product for 2 to 3 times the average cost of the product in that category, as long as you're offering a premium quality product with a guarantee warranty behind it. Because the people that, as we kind of know in the US, the middle class is kind of gone or separating. And the people that, have money, they're kind of going in the general direction where they want quality and universally want quality. So they're really seeking that out. And there's just so little available in that general category that in a lot of product categories, you'll just be the only one that does it. So figure out how to make just a quality product and just pull out all the stops and then offer that. You almost universally will have success, particularly if there's nothing in that category that really stands out as let's just say the apple in that category, and should be successful with that. So that's another.
Yeah. So like let's say you're like, I don't want to work for somebody. I really want to be an entrepreneur. I want to like create my own company, but I've been, racking my brain for years trying to come up with that idea. I can't think of anything. So like these are some methods that you can use to like find some ideas. So like one could be find somebody who's already doing something, but they don't really have, much of like an online marketing presence, and you could partner with them, build their, basically build like web traffic and like build like a marketing branch of their company to like bring in more business. And then number 2 is look for like niches or products that are only this like cheap stuff. Like there's no like really high quality luxury options, and then build one of those in that like marketplace. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a really easy way to come up with things. And especially, I mean, when it comes to it, you're right. I think a lot of people, when they think about starting businesses, they think about what's a new idea, what's the next best thing, what's the next thing going to be. And, it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, people are reinventing wallets lately has been like the thing for the past couple of years, with different types of wallets or different ways that they can hold things and be more compact. Like, you don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel. You can take one thing, make it better, offer a warranty, sell it for a higher price, and still be successful. Now, something that I was interested about is the whole aspect of creating this marketing funnel, which is essentially what you've done, Corey. So I'm curious to learn more about this from your perspective. What types of marketing do you see are most effective for? Is there a type that's most effective for products versus services versus, other types of businesses that you might create? Is it Facebook ads? Is it Google ads? Is it email lists? What are you seeing that is most effective right now?
Yeah, Google ads and Facebook ads are both pretty effective. It depends on the market, which one of those seems to be more effective, of course. If you've got kind of a unique offering, Facebook seems to certainly be the one that you would go for there most of the time. Just specifically because on Facebook, you can interrupt somebody and say, here, look, see how cool this idea is. You can't necessarily do that with Google per se. Whereas if you have something that just has, built-in demand, there's people regularly needing it, wanting it, then Google is more so your better bet, because you can just tap into people that already, of course, are looking for that. In that, though, with all of that said, the main thing is most people that try to market their own things, they put minimal effort into it. And so they're just really, in most markets, they're just not very good at showcasing what they have. What they have is really, really good a lot of times. They just don't know how to showcase that. So, and you don't have to be a marketing genius to do a lot of this stuff. You just got to be willing to put the time and the effort in to think, what does the consumer want to see? If I were, buying this, what are all the things that I would want to see before I bought this? And just start writing them down, and then figure out how to create a funnel that will convey that information in the most concise package for the user. Because most people in that market won't be willing to go ahead and put the effort in, because it is a considerable amount of effort. But the good thing is, once you put in that effort and that funnel works, it will generally work for years and years and years after that. So you put the effort in once, you almost basically have a passive income business after that, because it pretty much just works. Somebody else is obviously executing the back end. You almost have, I mean, passive income doesn't really exist, but this is about as close as it gets, as far as I've seen, in terms of businesses that are truly passive income.
Mm-hmm. And for your funnels, what do you typically use for your funnels? Do you use ClickFunnels, or is there something else that you would recommend?
ClickFunnels is good. I use a lot of a program called Unbounce, which makes a lot, you can make landing pages, as they're called, where you send your traffic to, without needing to be a programmer or anything like that. You can just drag and drop certain things in certain places to, give the user experience and convey what you need to convey to the user after they click on that ad. But that's our preferred programs. ClickFunnels is good if you have a more complex product where somebody's going to need to be taken through multiple stages. So in a lot of stuff, what we do, we don't necessarily need that. They need one good page. They see the page, they're convinced, but sometimes it takes more than just that.
Mm-hmm. I imagine that's a lot more cost effective than ClickFunnels as well. ClickFunnels can be expensive. I mean, to build a good funnel, it can be expensive, is what I found.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Pretty pricey. What have you found is like a good, what do you use for like a hook, I guess, to like get people to the landing page? So basically for my, for my simple understanding of funnels, there basically be like some sort of attention grabbing hook. So whether that's like a video that you're seeing on like Instagram or Facebook, or it's, a photo or a client testimonial, or, I don't know, a blog or something, some sort of like hook that then brings them to like a landing page where you have, kind of like the landing page is kind of like your like sales pitch in a way, I guess, where they get all the information. Hopefully they read it and it convinces them. There's like, buy now buttons periodically through it that brings them to like a buy and like a thank you page. That's kind of my understanding of like a funnel. Does that sound like accurate? And what type of like hook do you like to use to get people onto that page?
I think what a lot of people, when they are trying to attempt to do this, they don't really think about like, everything kind of can be boiled down to 1, 2, 3 things that the consumers want more than anything else in that market. Sometimes they just want the cheapest price. Sometimes they want the highest quality, or what have you. And then you generally try to use your hook and center that hook around those things. So like in terms of lowest pricing, to give you an example, if you were, let's say a mortgage broker, because everybody kind of knows what that is, and you were trying to sell that, one hook that we had in that particular market was to say, guaranteed lowest rate will give you a free steak dinner at the Outback Steakhouse. So when you see that, you're like, wow, because everybody wants the lowest rate on their mortgage. That's basically the main thing they care about for the most part. So what's a really outstanding, lavish claim that you can make that'll stop somebody in their tracks and say, I've never seen that before. I need to find out more about that. Or it could be as simple as saying, call for special pricing, holiday weekend only. And then it just gets people thinking, I wonder what that is. I have to find out what that is. So it should get the user thinking one way or another if you can. But ultimately, going back to the quality thing, the warranty thing could be your thing that makes you stand out as well. We have a paint seller who, also the paint in the paint category, and for the type of paint they sell is low quality. For him saying 30-year warranty on the paint, it was the one thing that differentiated him from everybody else in that market. And the business is just growing at a crazy rate every year just because of that one little, if you will, hook. So that's not necessarily something that gets people, a call to action, so to say, get someone to act immediately. But your value proposition should be able to be boiled down into condensed terms like that, so that the user can instantly know why I should buy from you. And then that'll generally get you to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Out of curiosity, what is your funnel? What's the hook that you guys use for your funnels?
Yeah. Obviously it's guaranteed PPC. So everybody kind of thinks they know what that might be when they see that.
Good name.
But, generally speaking, it's people that, it doesn't have to be, but a lot of times they're already advertising on Google or Facebook or somewhere online, and maybe the results are plateaued. And then we'll come in and say, hey, I looked at your funnel. Ultimately, I think you could do much better. We'll essentially give you the first of our services for free to make you enough profit that, essentially when you pay us, you're already making more than that in profit for yourself. So in other words, we charge this much per month. I'll make sure you are earning that plus some before I'll even take a payment on our side. And therefore, you really don't have any fees to pay us. And then with that, obviously, we're financing your results. So we'll send an advertisement out in the mail, the direct mail, snail mail, which is something that in marketing, what always works is the stuff nobody else is doing. Nobody else gets a letter in the mail saying what I'm mentioning here. So they get it and they're like, whoa, what the heck? I never got a piece of mail like this, and how long? It's got a handwritten address on the envelope, and there's a real stamp on it. And they actually are going to open it in that case. So I can actually get through to the business owner that way, so to say. And therefore it's it's effective. But with that, going back to what I was saying before, in my time at the marketing agency when I worked there, I found out what the most common complaint / question was that we were getting. And then I figured out how to turn that into a service, which was the guaranteed PPC. And I knew if just saying guaranteed PPC, that would get people's attention. And then from there, I figured out, okay, how can we guarantee PPC? What is it? Why is nobody doing this? How is it going to be possible to do this? And then it's been iterations to figure out how do we actually do that with it and make it work for our company. But we didn't start with, here's a service, how do we sell it? We figured out, here's what people want, was change it and figure out how to offer it.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. That's helpful. I think that's a good way to go about generating ideas for your business. If, like Travis said, if you're just trying to think of an idea for a business, banging your head against the wall, what about this? What about this? What about this? Your question was, how do I help people with X? And that's how you turn into a business. So that's helpful. Travis, did you have something?
I forgot what I forgot what I was going to say.
I felt like I interrupted you. It's all good.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
What did you have? So those are kind of like two ideas for, coming up with like a startup idea, and as well as like some really awesome, like I got a bunch of ideas in my head going of how I can implement those marketing tips for my business. Do you have other ways of coming up with startup ideas that you commonly see work?
Yeah, I was going to mention another one here. So anything that you can do to make the buying process more, easier, more convenient, for the user, that pretty much is a business idea in and itself, all by itself. To give you an example here, just to rattle one off, we had an individual that had started a company. It was a laundry company, and everybody kind of makes fun of the ideas. I'm sure you've heard, the Uber of plumbing or whatever, and people kind of make fun of those ideas. But that idea in and itself isn't stupid, because it's in the general direction of how can we make the buying process easier for somebody. And, as it comes to the laundry industry or what have you, where if you're not going to do your own laundry and you bring your laundry to the laundromat, if that's you and you want to get it done by somebody else because you don't want to fold it or whatever, that process in itself hasn't changed much over the last, 100 years, we'll just say. And it's rife with inefficiencies in that you've got to, put in a lot of effort to do this. With technology nowadays and apps and the web, that industry could be changed in that you could make it, certainly you could Uberify that type of business and therefore make it easier for somebody to buy. And then what we found is people are willing to pay a premium if you can make the buying process just that much or a little bit easier for the user. So what this individual did in the laundry space is, normally, and already you can get a laundry service where you can go online and you can type in, they'll ask you, for instance, okay, how many suit, coats do you have? Okay, how many, t-shirts do you have? And this is so cumbersome. What this guy did, which was very smart, was he realized, okay, people don't want to do that, right? How can we make this even easier? Okay, let's have an app, which basically they had a big green button on this app. And when you press the button, somebody shows up at your doorstep to pick up your laundry, and they come back within 24 hours when the laundry is all folded and done for you. And ultimately made it also easier where you don't have to tell them necessarily what you're doing. They give you this flat rate sack, a bag, and it's one fee no matter how much clothes you ram in it, or no matter what kind of clothes you ram in it. So, which they were charging roughly like $60 to get that sack filled and done for you. But the idea and the premise was, I can literally sit on my couch, press a button, somebody magically appears, picks up all my dirty laundry, and then brings it back the next day, and it tells me exactly where the laundry is at while it's being done. You just made the whole process. I mean, you're not doing anything different. The laundry is still done the same way. You just made it easier for somebody to buy from you. Ultimately, that's the only value add you're providing. But that's a huge value add. That could be done in a lot of different spaces. Just look how the ordering process is done in different spaces. How can we maybe add a subscription element to what you have? Is there no subscription model in that industry? Add one. Obviously, like I mentioned, the app.
I like the flat rate too, because then you're even eliminating another decision thing where someone's like, well, is it, no, it's this price every time. I can work that into my budget. I know I can either afford that or not, whatever, boom, move on. Like less decisions, less like stress about like, what is something going to be in the future? Like little things like that are huge. Like, yeah, that idea that the laundry idea, I think is awesome. I would totally do that. Like I would buy that service. Like that's sick.
Yeah. It's a good service. Yeah. So,
I feel like you could apply that to a lot of different things. Like really right off the bat, my brain's going, I'm like, okay, you could apply that to laundry. You could apply it to lawn care. You could apply it to washing automobiles and detailing automobiles. You could apply it to a plant watering service, pet sitting. Like there's so many different applications for that one thing. And to add on the subscription model, you can take the same business that someone else is running, make it flat rate, add a subscription, and now it's your own. And it can be successful. That's a good way to think about it. What else do we got? I feel like we're starting to roll with some really good ideas now and things. I hope the listeners that are here like starting to think of things on their own. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just add something onto it. So what else do you see that is working like this?
Let's do one. If you have one more, let's do one more. And then the episode's going to be 4 creative ways for coming up with startup ideas, basically.
Sick. Love it. Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. For the fourth one, I would just say that a lot of you guys have expertise in a certain field. Maybe you have a job, you're an expert in, some scientific field or what have you, and you want to potentially start a new business. The best thing I found for people to break into a business in terms of, you can start e-commerce business. And the one thing that there's a big shortage on in terms of e-commerce is professional help that you can get from e-commerce. If you call, for instance, you could go ahead and find the different sellers of products that are related to your field. And you can go and call these businesses and you can ask them questions and ask them technical questions. First of all, they may not even answer the phone. If they do answer the phone, they may not be able to answer your question because it's not a product expert. And, people are going to Amazon nowadays because it's easier. You can't beat Amazon at its own game. But what does Amazon not provide? They don't provide technical expertise in the products that you're buying. And all those small businesses, the brick and mortar businesses, have been put out of business by Amazon, but there's still a thriving kind of sub niche, if you will, of different niche e-commerce businesses where you can step in, and when somebody needs to buy and you need to consult them on making the correct purchase, they'll gravitate towards you because you're the only person in the market that's providing that level of so-called service and has the product knowledge to guide people into making the correct purchase. So along with you can make your product better quality, you could just be the one person that provides actual detailed level product consulting, if you will, to consumers in that particular market, or it could be any market. You could just become an expert in a certain field. You'd just be surprised on how little help that you're going to get from most companies out there if you do try to contact them and ask them about, well, here's my situation. What is it? This product do I need, or is it this product? The help is lacking. So it's just another one of those things where you don't necessarily have to have a totally brand new idea. Again, you just got to figure out let's find a market that's underserved where customers aren't getting any kind of good advice, and let's just be the one person that provides advice to the consumer, because you're going to get fantastic reviews, and then the reviews are going to speak for you after that, and your business is going to grow.
So it's kind of like, instead of it's just shifting your mindset a little bit around what coming up with a business idea even is. So most people are going to think like, well, if I want to start a business, I need to come up with a new product. But your business idea could be alleviating the stress and bad experience from even like a saturated product. Like there might be a product that lots of people sell, but to your point, there's no technical support. And there could be like a percentage of all those clients or customers that are just absolutely fed up, like totally fed up with the level of service that they're getting. So if you come in, your product really is the service. It's not, it's a barely, you know what I mean? Like that's really like your business idea. Because, if there's so many people on earth, if 5% of those customers or 10% of those customers are super fed up, but that's like 100,000 people, that could be a pretty good business idea. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You don't have to take over the world. And those of you listening right now, you probably have in your head, when we're talking about those companies that you're just fed up with, you probably just thought of a couple.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah, I'm really fed. I remember that one situation. I remember that one time. I remember when DoorDash didn't get my food to me like 4 times. Like we all have those in the back of our heads. So as you're coming up with these ideas, think about that kind of thing. What is a difficulty? What's a challenge that you faced that you think you could fix? Sometimes it's not that hard. Things like just delivering food, not that hard. If you can do it better, do it better. So I like that. This was helpful. This was good. This was like a quick in and out, short 4 ways that you can create a successful business. And it doesn't have to be that you're reinventing the wheel. So Corey, I really appreciate you coming on and helping opening up our minds to the possibilities that are in front of us, rather than us beating our heads against the wall trying to come up with these ideas. This was really helpful for me. So I appreciate you, man. And I know our listeners are probably going to want to learn a little bit more about you. So before we take off, why don't you give yourself the plug, man? Where can we find you on the internet, on social media, and what do you have coming up?
Yeah, you can find me at guaranteedppc.com. That's our marketing agency that I run. But you also can find me on YouTube as well. I have my own YouTube channel, and that's the primary place that I am on via social media that you can find me. So I would just mainly go to one of those 2 spots.
Awesome. And we'll put those links in the show notes for you guys as well. So you can add, I'm sure that YouTube is extremely valuable, as was this episode. So again, I appreciate you, man. Thank you again for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. We appreciate you sharing your knowledge and opening up our minds a little bit. So thank you again. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in as well to another episode of the Struggle to Strike podcast. We will see y'all next week.